What's going on? We are back. Holy cannoli, Spencer. Man, it has been too long. My fault. I'm just going to say I enjoyed my break in Atlanta. I found me a house, so I'll be doing this more often in Atlanta in a house. So I'm glad about that. Spencer, how's been the vacation, I guess you could say?
Yeah, man, I won't lie, buddy. I missed you, man. I've been wanting to catch up with you, man. We've missed a lot of action. We got NBA playoffs going on. We got MLB season underway, kind of getting into the swing of things. And we got big event happening this Thursday, NFL draft. That's what the focus of today is going to be all about. I'm very excited to catch up with you.
Very excited.
You can see over this past weekend, I got a little bit of sun. You can see. Yeah, the farmer's tan is looking pretty dandy today, man.
I understand.
Yeah, but it's been a good weekend down here in the H. I don't know if you've been keeping up with it, but Taylor Swift has invaded Houston, Texas.
Oh man, yeah. I seen all the Swifties out. I mean, I seen a few. I was like, "You're a Swiftie."
Hey,
but
I have to confess, I would consider myself one.
Oh, yeah.
I love Taylor Swift music, dude. I do. I'm not afraid to admit it. That girl makes good music. And you know what? I hope she continues to get her heart broken the rest of her life, because when she does, there's going to be a fire album on the way when someone breaks her heart. She just broke up with her boyfriend of like I don't know, like a while, like 6 years or something like that. We about to get a good album. Album.
I will actually admit, I used to not like Taylor Swift. Of course, I was, hey, Taylor, I'm happy for you. But so I'm riding Kanye all day, and then when they meshed for that little time, I ended up being a Taylor Swift fan. I started listening to her music, and then I think what actually got me going was the year Taylor Swift. I forget what album or what song, but it was like the Saturday Night Football song on ESPN. That was the featured song, and I think it was like, "Are You Ready for It?" Boom, boom. And then I was like, man, this is crap, man. Why Taylor Swift? And then all of a sudden I started listening. I'm like,
hey, the girl makes good music, and us here at Wild West Sports, we are all supportive of the Swifties.
We are.
There will be no disrespect to Swifties on this channel. I promise.
There won't be. I promise. First I was going to be, but then I opened up and said, I kind of like the girl's music, so I'm with you. So
yeah, I think every single person, and we won't spend any more time on it. I think every single person on the face of the earth has at least one song that they're kind of just like, like the gif of Jay-Z going like,
yeah,
like he doesn't want to be nodding his head, but he is. Everyone's got at least one song of Taylor Swift's like that. If you're not a big fan of hers, there's still one song that'll get you going.
I agree. Spencer, like you said, hey, we're not gonna talk about Taylor Swift because this is not this show. We're gonna talk about. Oh, hold it before I bring in. As always, hey man, follow us at Wild West Sports, Instagram, TikTok. Subscribe on YouTube. Hey, ask us questions. We will answer them. Trust me. Also, follow Athletically Declined. We partner with them. Spencer, as you can see on his headline, he finally got his segment show, Mr. Fantasy for Athletically Declined. He's got his new Instagram page, so you follow that. You follow Athletically Declined. I'm not going to make a page for my show, the Red Shirt Year, but I'll post it on my page and Athletically Declined. So follow that as well. I think I'm going to have an episode this week. Book it. Just like I said, Kings in 7. Oh, hold up. NBA playoffs round 1. And man, it looks like I'm going to get my Kings in 7 pick.
It's looking good so far, but man, I was so fired up when the Kings were up 2. I was like, yes, they're going to do it. But the game just ended like a couple hours ago before. We're recording this on a Sunday evening it's about 8 o'clock Central Time, 6 p.m. for you over there on the West Coast. Yeah. So the game just wrapped up. The final 2 games of the evening are playing right now, just for the record while we're recording. But yeah, man, that last second shot by Barnes didn't go in, and so it's 2-2. Man, best of 3 series between those two, man. I don't know. I'm still scared.
I don't know if I agree with Barnes shooting. I mean, I don't mind Barnes shooting the shot. I'm just thinking, like, you're only down 1. I mean, why couldn't you just make the refs make that call? Get a foul call, man. Do something else, but it's okay. I still got the Kings at 7. I'm looking good right now. Actually, what's looking good for me is I think the only other opposite is from the first preview of the NBA playoffs. I'm not going to say my Knicks, but the Knicks are up 3-1 on the Cavs. Hey, it's looking good right now. Spence, anything else in the playoffs pop in your eye?
Man, we talked about it on a previous episode, like a few episodes ago, maybe like our third or our fourth episode. I forget which one, but we talked about old boy over in Memphis, freaking Dylan Brooks. This dude just continues to just be a nuisance, man. Again, I go back and I stand by what I said on that episode. You are not good enough to act the way that you are. Man, you are such a bum. He's not impacting the game with his shooting. He's not an elite athlete. Like Doris Burke was going off on this man on the broadcast. She was not holding back. And of course, after he, talks mess about LeBron pregame and, then LeBron comes over, has some words with him before the game, and they drop a historic first quarter on them. You just love to see it. And then it ends with Dylan Brooks getting a flagrant 2, getting kicked out of the game. I wish he would be suspended for another game. Personally, I think, if we're talking about like the reputation preceding you, like the whole thing with Draymond getting suspended, which I think that was the right decision. I think
that was the right decision.
Yeah, your track record precedes you, dude. Like, I'm sorry, you do this too much. Like, when are you gonna learn? Like, this is the only way to teach you at this point, is to continue to make you miss games that are meaningful. But that being said, with that happening with Draymond, I feel like maybe he hasn't had the established track record as long as Draymond, but Dylan Brooks definitely has that reputation as well. Why aren't we practicing the same thing for him? I'm not really sure on that one. But Dylan Brooks quickly becoming the most hated guy in the NBA. I can't stand the dude. Again, if he was decent, if he was a decent player, maybe I'd be okay with him acting this way. But he's such a mediocre player. For you to act like such an arrogant asshole, I'm sorry, I just can't do this.
I totally agree. Yeah, when he said I won't give no one respect until they drop 40 on me, I was like what? Come on, my guy. Yeah, I'm with you. Like you're not. Yeah, you gotta talk. You gotta play a bigger game when you talk that big of a game. And
and if I was LeBron, I'd be like, okay, I'm sorry I didn't drop 40, but how about a 26-point first quarter lead, which has never been done in the playoffs before? How about that? Yeah. How about do I have your respect now, buddy?
Yeah, I definitely that Lakers -4.5. Money.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm saying.
And we both had the Lakers as the winner, and we're both sitting pretty on that.
I was so upset though about the game 2 Lakers, because at first I was thinking Memphis was gonna win game 1, no big, and then Lakers won. And I was like, holy crap, they could. How I'm looking at it, could sweep it. They missed a big opportunity game 2. Oh man, definitely. But Lakers looking good right now. I know that. Nuggets looking good. They might go for the sweep tonight. I think they may lose. Just get the game in Denver, call it whatever. Don't get me started on this stupid Suns and Clippers series. Kawhi Leonard, you are a fraud. Oh my God. I'm sorry. I mean, I can't take this man serious anymore. Like, I miss the Toronto Kawhi, even though he did load management for most of that as well. I'm just gonna say he ain't hurt. He not hurt, man.
You don't think so?
No, it ain't. No, I mean, I'm not saying he's quitting. He know he can't beat, because he did his thing game 1, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be a good series. And then he said, I'm out. And I was like, what? Like, you really gonna do that to Russ? You really gonna do that to everyone else? You know what I feel bad for? I feel bad for God. I can't even think of the guy's name who bought the Clippers, man, right now.
Ballmer.
I feel bad for him. He's like, at least with Paul George, he's hurt. Like, he's, I seen the injury. He's hurt. I guess it's gonna be a while. Kawhi, that man might have like a toenail or injury and sit out 3 months.
Yeah.
Kawhi pissed me so much. It's not even funny. Like, I used to get on AD for getting hurt all the time, but at least AD gets hurt. I swear, Kawhi, I don't think he gets hurt. Like, I just think he just wakes up and he's sleeps on the wrong side of the bed. I'm out tonight, man.
For me, it's weird. Like, I don't know. I don't want to speculate if he's actually injured or not. I think there's probably that's probably a fair, assumption to make. He might not actually be, or he might be embellishing it a little bit. But my thing is this: I think there's a line, right? I don't think there's a single. I'm not a doctor, but I don't think there's a single doctor on earth that would say, "Oh no, if you rest too much, your body's not going to react well. I don't think there's a doctor on earth that would say it. I think every doctor would say the more you rest, the more you can perform. But that being said, like, your body does still have to get used to playing, right? There's no way that load managing and only playing half of the year like, we have no evidence that shows that that's worked. In fact, we have evidence now that shows that it either is not working or it has no effect on it. So why are you load managing throughout the season? You know what I'm saying? To me, if the whole point of load managing Kawhi and Paul George throughout the season was to get them to the playoffs, and now you're in the playoffs and they're not here now for whatever reason, if it's a big injury, if it's a little injury, again, I don't want to speculate. But whatever it is, what you're doing throughout the regular season does not work. You might as well go all in during the regular season and just hope it falls right for you in the playoffs with the injury luck. At this point, James, I don't know how you feel, but I think if the Suns finish this off in a gentleman's sweep in 5 games, I'm looking at the Clippers with eyeball emojis for the offseason.
Yeah. Hey.
This is the 4th year that they've been together, and they've done absolutely nothing together. They've barely played together. Those two are always injured. I think both of those guys would be better off playing with a more durable superstar. That way, you know, if you are going to be an injured guy, which both guys have proven to be throughout their careers at this point, if you're going to be someone that's, you know, constantly injured, you need to be playing with a guy who's going to have a better injury history. Like, although I say that now, but I can't think of any superstar in the league right now that plays every single game. Load management is such a problem in the NBA, but that's kind of another topic for another day. But
I agree.
I don't know, man. I think you got to blow it up at this point.
I'm with you. It's time to blow it up. I mean, before, even just to sidetrack a bit, remember the last episode, I was like, I'm going to look at eyeball emojis with the Toronto Raptors, and they've already done it. Step one, Nick Nurse, whoop. And so I'm waiting to see what happens there. I'm the same way. I mean, I don't know. And I can't even blame Tyler. Tyler should keep the job. It's everyone else. Like I think it's time to blow it up. Like, I feel bad. I know Ballmer probably won't think that because he got the new stadium coming. I think it's next season. I forget. But yeah, the Clippers. God.
Let me ask you something. Do you think they'd be a different team if you replaced Paul George with Shai Gilgeous? Because that's a team that you could have seen. In an alternate universe, that's a team that could have been a thing. Kawhi Leonard signs, but they keep Shai Gilgeous and all those pieces. Shai Gilgeous has developed into a bona fide superstar. Is this a different series if Shai Gilgeous is on the team instead of Paul George? I don't know. We're getting into a big rabbit hole, but I'm just curious.
Yeah, there's a big one.
Quick take. I don't know. I almost think he would be.
At least I'll say this. I would watch the series. I'm not watching the series because I would watch it because of SGA because I know he'll be on the court every night. I'm like,
yeah, that would be, going back to my point earlier about superstars that don't play. Shai Gilgeous I would qualify him as a superstar after what he's done this year. I think you got to put him in the conversation. He averaged 30. You average 30, to me, you've earned the superstar logo. You average 30 and you have your team at a chance to get in the playoffs. You put him on this Clippers team. I don't know. Things are different. But I will say, before we move on, I do want to give a shout out to a guy I've constantly hated on throughout his career. Russell Westbrook is balling out.
He's balling out.
He's the only guy they have available to them to do so, and that might be part of the thing. Like, he's the only one that can handle the ball. That might be why he's balling out. But respect where it's due. He's having a very good series, and it wasn't that long ago that a lot of the talking heads on all the big ESPN, Fox Sports shows were calling for him to be out of the league in a year. And I think he's reestablished himself as a guy who definitely has a role in the league.
I agree. Yeah, no, shout out to Russ, man. Doing your thing, man. Keeping it steady, man. Keeping it moving. Hey, thank you, Russ. Thank you, Russ, for, showing up. Because you could just sit out too, like Kawhi. And everyone else. God, the Clippers piss me off. Because, I who I feel bad for? The people who throw their money on the Clippers every year thinking, they got a stacked team, and it's gone. That's it.
One of the dumbest futures I placed before the NBA season was Kawhi Leonard MVP. That was a very stupid future because I didn't even factor in the fact that he was going to load manage all year. Because what I saw leading up into the playoffs, Kawhi Leonard was playing some of the best basketball of anyone in the entire NBA in the final few weeks of the season leading up to it. And that was what I was banking on being the whole season. But I totally forgot about the fact that he wasn't going to play half the season. They were going to load manage it the whole time. So very stupid future on my part. I got too focused on what was actually going to happen on the court, forgetting that he ain't going to be on the court that much.
Yeah. Hey, at least now, you got something to to go off of. Like, you got to play at least 65 games. So you just, hey, look at like, all right, who am I going to bet on? SGA next year. That's my guy.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Other than that, I don't think anything else is really eye-popping to me in the playoffs. I think everything's going the way we want. I think we'll just keep an eye on the Kings and Warriors. That's the one.
And I will just say, peeking ahead to the second round, because I feel pretty confident. The Sixers wrapped up their sweep of the Nets.
Yes.
And the Celtics, they're down, or they're up 2-1, and then the Hawks are keeping it close right now as we're recording. It's a pretty close game.
Is it really?
But I'm gonna assume though that the Celtics do get it done and they take care of business and finish off the Hawks. That series is going to be so much fun. Celtics versus Sixers. Oh my goodness, I'm very excited for it.
Definitely, I agree. Well, hey, as this is supposed to be our mock draft episode, we're gonna go into wild quick takes, real quick. Spencer, number one from me, and I'm not. You can just give me your top 3 stadiums. Okay, so the other day I was at Truist Park, where the Braves play. It's a beautiful stadium. Everything surrounding it. It's all modern, there's real no history to it, but it's all modern in today's era where it's like kids love it, people love it. You can go drink outside, you can drink inside, left, right. I saw the fireworks show after the Astros Braves game. Your top 3 MLB stadiums, either your top 3 that you may want to go see, or your top 3 of all time, whichever one.
Yeah, so I'll give you the ones on my bucket list, because unfortunately, this might surprise you, I've never actually been to a baseball game out of town. I've only ever been to Minute Maid. It's definitely on my bucket list now that I'm an adult and I'm making money and I can actually go do that. I can go do the things I want to do as a kid. So no particular order. I definitely want to go to Wrigley. I want to see the Ivy. I want to be in the Windy City.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go to Fenway. I want to see the big monster. But I'm going to give you a third one. There was some news that happened earlier this week in the world of baseball. And you kind of mentioned it a few episodes ago, but your hometown, well, not your hometown, but your local town, Oakland A's, are following the rest of the teams. They're heading out the door and they're going to Las Vegas. And that would be the third place. And I'm telling you, James, I 100% will be making a Vegas trip for an Astros road series. 100% will be doing that. One day I'm going to go and attend one of the games. The other 2 games, I'm going to be posted up at one of the sports books, and I'm going to bet those other 2 games. It's going to be fun. It's a fun series. But once the Astros make that move, I will be in Vegas for a road series. You can count on that. So those are going to be my 3.
Okay. I like that. Definitely. Hey, I'm so happy. The A's finally just say, hey, F you, Oakland. We're going to Vegas. Here's my quick thing number 2. Basically, on that topic, the Raiders owner basically threw the A's under the bus, saying they F the city of Oakland. And I'm looking at him like, you're a hypocrite because you just left Oakland. You did the same thing the A's are doing. Spencer, what is your take on the Raiders owner saying the A's basically F the city of Oakland, but the Raiders did literally the same thing years ago?
I mean, you tell me an NFL owner is being a hypocrite? Oh, I'm so surprised. You mean they're not a good stand-up citizen that's, makes all the right comments and says all the right things?
Oh,
I'm shocked. No, all these guys are just run by their bottom line. And, he's saying that because he can get some sympathy points. But yeah, no, scumbag. He stole the team from those fans down in Oakland. And, I've seen some clips of like the A's fans, like in the early 2010s, like 2010, 2011, 2012, the last time the A's were like an actually, contending
Moneyball
team.
A's, right? The movie.
Well, even not even that long ago. I mean, yeah, the Moneyball team was fun. But like even in the early 2010s, they had some decent teams in Oakland. Right when the Astros first came over to the AL West, the A's were one of the more competitive teams in that division. And there were some videos of fans being into it. The Oakland Coliseum was fairly crowded, especially considering nowadays how empty those stadiums are for those Oakland home games. It's just, I feel bad for those fans, man. I wasn't alive whenever the Oilers, well, I was alive, but I wasn't very coherent about whenever the Oilers left when the Oilers left Houston. There's a hole, there was just something empty about football being missing in Houston. So I can only imagine it's probably a similar sentiment that the fans in Oakland right now are feeling because they have nothing now. They really it's just going to be USC. Like that's it. Like they lost the Warriors, they lost the Raiders, and now they've lost the A's. They have nothing. All their teams have gone in the last decade. That sucks.
That's all they got. All they got to root for is Cal and Stanford. Woo! I mean, even though technically the Warriors are a boat ride to San Francisco, but still, in general, like losing all your teams. Shame on you, City of Oakland. I'm so glad I'm moving to Atlanta.
Yep, we gotta get you out of there.
And then right now, how do you I think I still got two more. I'm gonna aim this one to the Astros. What is your opinion / take on? I'm not talking about the slow start Astros. I think their record's now 11-10.
12-10 after they completed the sweep today.
I'm worried. So I'm not worried. I guess I am worried. I'm looking at Jose Abreu's stats. I'm looking at Jeremy Pena's stats. Are you worried right now about the slow bats right now, or you're just thinking like maybe once Altuve comes back, then the bats may pick up? I know I've seen. I think it's Clearbrook alum or Friendswood alum. Corey.
The incredible Jolts.
Jolts, yeah, that guy. He's been on the show. Man.
Yeah. He's been an awesome find this season. He's had a very, very good start. I like him being able to contribute going forward. Yeah. I don't know too much about Pena's slow start. His might just be like a little bit of a sophomore slump, but I will say he's been stealing bags like left and right. Mm-hmm. So, once we get his, on base percentage up a little bit back to where it was maybe closer to last year, I think we'll start to feel a lot better about him. But Abreu is an interesting one because last year with the White Sox, his power numbers were down. He wasn't hitting as many home runs. But this year, despite him still not having a home run in an Astros uniform, his exit velocities have been very, very, very good. He's been hitting balls like 108, 109 off the bat. Unfortunately, they've just been going for very hard hit doubles or they've been lineouts. So I think a lot of Jose Abreu's struggles will even out over time. Like the regression to the mean is going to come. But I will say it is a little bit of concern because you kind of signed Jose Abreu on the pretense that this is a former MVP that you're adding to a World Series champion lineup, and it hasn't been that. And I'm not really sure if he's just going to turn around and hit 20 home runs by the end of the season. I'm not sure if he gets to that number, but I do think he's hitting the ball well. He started his Astros career off with a 10-game hitting streak. I think his ability to get on base is still there, and I think ultimately what the Astros need is a guy like that. Yuli Gurriel, who he replaced, he did that a lot for the Astros last year. Throughout the regular season, he was very, very slow, though, too. But then he turned it up in the playoffs. He was getting timely base hits. And one thing with Yuli was he would always put the ball on the plate. He didn't walk much. He didn't strike out much. But he would always put the ball in play, and that was one thing I liked about him. And Jose Abreu kind of is the same in the same regard. So maybe if we can get those power numbers back to where they were with the White Sox, I'll feel better. But I'm not worrying too much in April. We're still in April.
Okay.
I don't want to have a hard set take on a player yet. I want to see some more trends happen. It's a brand new year, but it is nice to see the Astros are back at 12-10 after they just completed a sweep of the Braves. We got Tampa Bay this week. We're going to the Trop, the best team in the majors. So we'll see how the Astros line up against some really good quality competition this week. I know some of the guys over Athletically Declined when we've been doing our roundtable. They've kind of been poo-pooing on the Rays, and I've kind of sat back and just taking it all in. But
yeah, man.
I think a lot of my fellow Athletically Declined mates forget that this Rays team was in the playoffs last year.
This Rays team is consistent. Like they were in the World Series, and then they find a way to they find great quality of players on low budgets, and then like they just let them go, and then they find one.
I think Kevin Cash is one of the better managers in the MLB, and they have a really good pitching staff and two bona fide, I would argue superstars, Randy Arozarena, don't throw him a fastball, it's going to get murdered, and Wander Franco, one of the most highly touted prospects whenever he was in the minors, is now in the majors, and he's absolutely killer. So I think the Rays team is here to stay now. They do have to go through Houston. I mean, every team in the AL is going to have to go through Houston, but the Rays, I don't think the Rays are fraudulent at all. I think they're a legitimate threat.
Gotcha. Okay, so I won't take all the wild takes. You give me yours, and then we'll hop to our mock draft for the top 10 for this Thursday.
Yes, sir. So I got two for you. The first one, I want to follow up with you. I know you went to Truist Park to watch one of those games for the Astros and the Braves this weekend. How was your experience? Tell us about the game.
Oh man, it was great. So of course, like I said, in Truist Park, it's kind of like man, like a mini town center where we live in the hometown. There's like apartments, there's hotels left and right, and they call the section the Battery, what's outside the stadium. So you got your restaurants, your bars. We ate at Yard House, very typical, but still we could still see the game. We were in a long line, so we missed the fireworks in the first inning for the 4-1 start, but we got in our seats about second inning, and then of course it was dead zone. Of course, I actually did sit by some Astro fans, and of course my cousin and her boyfriend, they're all Braves. Everyone's Braves fans, so it's whatever. But of course, the only joke I could hear all night is, "I don't see no trash cans. I don't see." I was hearing this all night, and then once the Astros came back, and then once Jordan hit that home run, kid you not, the guy that was talking the most trash the whole night, the quickest guy out the building. The quickest guy. And so I enjoy the stadium. So the stadium is beautiful. I think in general, I think you may agree. I think baseball stadiums, how they're designed in their weird ways, I think that's why I love baseball stadiums more than any other stadiums, because basketball and football.
100% agree.
So, I sat like section 343, like row 7, but it was like a very good row. I mean, it was a very good row to see the game. I didn't have the foul pole blocking me. And then I will say one of the best things I did enjoy about it was the tomahawk chop or whatnot once the Astros subbed out Hunter Brown. And it was just it was kind of like the intimidation thing. They shut the lights down. Everyone turned on their bright phone lights, and they just kept. And I was like, damn, it was something. And so then I was thinking, I couldn't imagine how that was like in playoffs, because you know how playoffs is like. So I had a great time. I think the stadium's one of a kind. I think it's beautiful. But then again, I might be biased now because I live in Atlanta now. Now, I will say this. Where I will be living in Atlanta, I will not go to no 7:00 p.m. games, because I live at least with no traffic, maybe 30, 35 minutes. But going from North Atlanta to South Atlanta after the game, don't sign me up. Don't sign me up. So I'll probably be going to games either at 1 p.m. or 4 p.m. Book that part. But the stadium's great. I hope, if you ever come to Atlanta, I'll definitely take you to the game. It's a beautiful time.
All right.
I'll make sure to make a day trip out of it so we can just drink, and hopefully we'll go. Either A, we'll go for the Astros if they're in town, and B, we'll just go for the Braves and win. So
yeah,
I enjoyed my time there.
If the Astros aren't there, I'll go for the Braves. I don't mind. Yeah. And then I got one last one for you, James. I don't know about you, but I'm not a big hockey guy. But when the Stanley Cup playoffs roll around, I get engaged, because playoff hockey is one of the most underrated sporting events of the entire year. So, James, have you been keeping up with the NHL playoffs at all? And if so, where are you leaning? Are you bandwagoning any teams, or is there anything you're looking for? We're not going to analyze the hockey. I'm just kind of curious. I don't know. I don't understand hockey well enough. I can fully admit I don't even fully understand what icing is. I don't icing the puck. I'm still trying to learn. But I'll tell you what, that sport is awesome to watch.
Yes.
Houston needs an NHL team.
Houston
needs an NHL
I do agree. So I will say this. One, when I moved to Buffalo, we had the Sabres, and I was like, oh, yeah, I'm a Buffalo Sabres fan. They suck. They never made it to the playoffs any of the years I was there. So I never got to experience playoff hockey, but I always enjoyed the games. And then, like you said, I will always watch. Now, I don't keep up with it now if NBA playoffs is in the way, but on my days off, when there's no NBA and there's hockey on, you are right. Hockey playoff is a different animal. Those fans are insane left and right. And I will tell you this. If I'm bandwagoning on any teams, I kid you not, I don't know why, but it's the newly expansion team. So Vegas and Seattle. Those who are I root for. I'm not a fan, but those are I root for. The new teams, because everyone else has got rich history from the Blackhawks, the Red Wings, the Penguins, the Capitals. But no Penguins, no Capitals. So that's a shocker, for them. Other than that, I'm gonna say Ooh, maybe the Boston Bruins, man. I want them to win. They've had the spectacular year they broke the wins record and I think the points record as well. So I think I'm gonna go with them. I'm gonna go with the Boston.
Yeah. So I've bandwagoned the Edmonton Oilers. If you follow me on Twitter, I've been bandwagoning them for a lot of reasons. But first, I'll be honest, and James, I know you can relate to this one. They have Connor McDavid on their team, who, from what again, still learning hockey, still trying to get involved and learn more about it. But Connor McDavid, what I've learned is this guy is the LeBron James of hockey. And so, therefore, I'm going to bandwagon his team like LeBron has people that just bandwagon whatever team he goes and plays for. I am now an Oilers fan because of Connor McDavid. So, but also, you have, the Oilers connection, the Houston Oilers. Me and you both went to Pearland where, guess what our high school mascot was? We were the Oilers. So it makes some sense. I like their color scheme too. So I'm an Edmonton fan through and through, diehard, lifelong Edmonton Oilers fans. And that's until Houston gets a team. But I'll tell you something. It'll be a cold day in hell if I ever cheer for the Dallas Stars.
That's for sure. Hey,
that's never going to happen.
I think I forgot to add this.
If they're the only Texas team that we have, never cheering for the Dallas Stars ever.
Yeah,
ever.
I think that was the one team I forgot to add when I went on we don't give a damn about Dallas. That was the one. You know what? We don't give a damn about the Stars. There you go. Book it. Hey, Spencer, thank you for those takes. Now, hey, look, Thursday is the biggest day for us football fans. Woo! Man,
it's like Christmas.
Teams that underperform hopefully get better. Teams that performed well hopefully find a way to find a gem in the later rounds. Hey, Spencer, I'm talking the NFL draft. It is this Thursday in Kansas City. I did read something on Twitter that the first NFL draft was done on a chalkboard. Could you imagine someone doing that on a chalkboard today? Like, man, my hands, no way, no how.
Oh, everyone would call it rigged if it was on a chalkboard. Everyone would be like, oh, you wrote the name wrong. That's still wrong team. Everyone would be calling for it to be rigged. It's fraud.
Yeah. Now, like I said, hey, Thursday night, hey, now right now on the ticker, we got only the top 10. We're only going to do the top 10. I know Spencer, he's going to be on the round table, Athletic Decline. Y'all watch that because they're going to do the first round. Me, ain't no way I'm going to do the first round. I thought I was, and I got back from Atlanta. Jet lag. Let's just stick with the top 10 and our favorite teams. Now, Spencer, hey, I don't need 10 minutes for the Carolina. Who do you have Carolina selecting as the number one draft pick in the 2023?
So I think Vegas is going to be right. I think we don't need to think about it too much. I don't think there's going to be any surprises happen between now and Thursday. The betting odds have shifted. When Carolina first traded up, it was going to be C.J. Stroud. Heavy favorites. But now the betting odds are very, very heavily swung in the direction of Bryce Young. That's who we're going to give pick number one, Bryce Young, Alabama quarterback, my QB3. However, we've gone over this enough times. You know how I feel about it. If he was my franchise quarterback, I'd be very, very happy. Bryce Young goes to Carolina, gives that franchise a new sense of hope. What do you think?
I'm the same as well. I thought it was going to be CJ at first, and now it's Bryce Young. After Bryce Young, even though the Panthers came out and said they didn't tell him they were going to pick him, Bryce Young canceled all the pre-draft visits. I think it's a secure bag, Bryce Young to the Carolina Panthers. Now, I just don't know. For me, I just don't know if I'm going to buy that powder blue Young jersey. I did buy a Tua jersey when he got drafted because he was one of my favorites. I don't know about Bryce. I liked him, but he wasn't as a favorite of mine as Hurts and Tua were. But, yep, I'm going Carolina. I'm going Bryce Young, number one. Now we're going to go to your Texans, number two. Now, before I let you roll the pick, everyone on earth thinks, okay, this is quarterback. This is C.J. Stroud. And if you're not going Bryce, you're going C.J. If you're not going C.J., you're going Bryce. But now all this, man, where's all this smoke coming from? We had a barbecue? What am I hearing? They're not confident on the quarterbacks no more. They're looking at this. They're looking at that. Spencer, please tell me who the Texans should draft. Because if it was me, I think I know who I'm drafting. But
it's giving me a headache, James. I can't handle all these smoke screens. I don't know I truly don't know what to believe. I almost want the draft just to happen so I can stop stressing about it because I don't know what the Texans are doing, which I think one thing that's underrated throughout this whole process is the fact that no one has any idea what the Texans are doing, whereas in the past they were an organization that things would constantly get leaked out from within the organization about what their plans were and get leaked out, and then everyone would know. The fact that no one knows what the Texans are doing before Thursday, that's an underrated element to this that I'm very happy about. But that being said, as a fan, it's has not been easy for me as a fan. Like, I understand we're in a good spot. We're going to get a great player at whoever we pick at 2. But it's a very important pick. So, what do I think is going to happen? I think they're going to make what I would say, at least in some regards, is a mistake. I think they're going to take Will Anderson with the second pick. Okay. You know how much I've talked about how much I love CJ Stroud on this show. Yeah. I think he is ready to be a QB1 from day one. I think he's pro ready. I think he's got all the tools that you want. Really, the only downside for him is that he had some inconsistencies at times, but every quarterback does in college. And he's not the most mobile guy, but even then, I think he's about as mobile, if not more, than someone like a Joe Burrow. That was the comp I made when we talked about it on one of the early episodes. So CJ Stroud, if I'm the GM, I'm locking in CJ Stroud, not even thinking about it. But I think a lot of NFL scouts are catching on to this S2 cognitive test or whatever, which, can I just say something about this? This has never been a thing until this year. No one has ever talked about the S2 cognition test. And now everyone's talking about, oh, man, he scored really bad on this. You didn't care about this until this year. Why are we using this to downplay prospects? But I regress. I think that, but also for the Texas point of view, and this one I kind of do understand, is CJ Stroud shares an agent with one Deshaun Watson. His name is David Mulugheta, who I don't think is a very good guy. He constantly talked about how innocent Deshaun Watson was. I'm not on board with that. I think Deshaun Watson's the scum of the earth, but we don't have to get into that right now. But that being said, I think there's a very rocky relationship, agent-owner relationship there between the Texans and Mulugheta. I think they might even take CJ Stroud off their board completely because of that. Again, I would take CJ Stroud in a heartbeat and work out whatever beef the organization has with the agent as it goes. But I'm gonna lock in Will Anderson for them. I think DeMeco Ryans being an Alabama guy and them not being sold on I think they're really sold on Bryce Young. And now that the Panthers are going to take Bryce Young, I think they're either going to trade back, which our mock draft, we're not going to do any trades. No. So the fact that we're not doing any trades in our mock draft, I think if they don't trade back, I think they take Will Anderson at 2.
I will say we're not doing any trades on our mock, but if that happens, there will be trades for that third pick in Arizona. I'm just going to be quick. I'm not going to believe in the smoke screen, so I'll go CJ Stroud too. I'm making it quick. I'm just making it quick. Like, you need a quarterback. Like,
dude, I hope you're right, James. I hope you're right so bad, dude. I can't tell you how bad I hope you are right.
I hope I am too. That make me nice. All right, so hey, then going on to 3, your mock draft is going to be probably more interesting than mine. Because if I'm going 3, I actually have Will Anderson to the Cardinals. Now, of course, even though I've not been a fan of Kyler Murray, I would love to see some crazy Cardinals hey, we're trading Kyler Murray and we'll draft someone. That would be something. But I think now I could be biased because I'm an Eagles fan. I believe the game's won on the trenches, and you got to start somewhere in Arizona. And I know they need a lot of help. Of course, you could say receiver, cornerback, edge rusher, running back now, safety, all offense. But I'm going to just go Will Anderson, best player available. Now, of course, everyone didn't like Will Anderson's previous season after he had a spectacular. But the thing was, his spectacular sophomore year, he led the SEC, I think, in sacks or tackles for loss. And supposedly it was a down year. It's kind of like when LeBron averages 26 a game, and it's like, man, he's not up to par. And it's like, he just scored 26 a game.
Yeah. And that's not being your down night.
Man. So, okay, Spencer, who are you going with now? Number 3. That is Arizona.
Yeah, obviously they're not going to go quarterback. I'm going to have them go edge rusher from Texas Tech, Tyree Wilson. A guy who doesn't have the most college production, is very, very raw. But I think he's a guy that translates very well to the NFL. He's another guy that's been rumored to the Texans. There's been some mock drafts that even have the Texans taking him at number 2 and not Will Anderson or CJ Stroud. I've seen a couple that have Tyree Wilson going there.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot to like about him. He reminds me a lot of Trayvon Walker coming out of college last year. Very raw, but he has some tools there that really translate well to the next level. So I'm going Tyree Wilson there for the Cardinals at 3.
Yeah, I know it's crazy to hear. Like Wilson. Because I will say this, because when you say Wilson from Texas Tech, you're thinking, okay, he's a quarterback, he's a receiver, he's a running back. This dude's a defensive player. Who knew the Big 12 played defense? But like you said, he's got the frame, 6'6", 275 frame, which has advantages on most tackles. He could probably blow by. So you're right. He probably could be a trade. Because I remember Walker last year. I thought this was Aiden Hutchinson. And then, boom. So I really like that. So then now we're going to go to number 4, where the Colts. Now Spencer, this is gonna look very disappointing for you. I'm assuming you know who the Colts are going to draft if CJ's not going 2 in your mock draft. Who is the Colts draft? Unless you want to do some more fireworks.
So for me, the Colts get a really easy pick here. They're going to get CJ Stroud after he goes on a little bit of a fall, considering he might have been the first overall pick. He goes 4 to the Indianapolis Colts. They get their franchise guy to finally take the reins over after they've just been playing, footsie or
footsies with every old veteran quarterback.
Every single old quarterback that they can get, they bring in. I think they finally get their young guy to build around CJ Stroud. That's the pick for the Colts at 4.
I agree. No, I definitely agree. So for me, if I have Bryce and CJ off already, now of course I am not a fan of Anthony Richardson, but I think as what everyone, Dan Olasky, everyone else, I see the upside. I see this. I wouldn't personally, but I think the Colts go Anthony Richardson because, like you said, if he can find that right coaching, the ceiling's this high. But we know with the 13 starts, I don't even think it was 13 starts. Who knows? The video doesn't show that, but I do see a high ceiling for him if he's got the right coaching. So I'm going Anthony Richardson, 4 to the Colts. Now 5, Seattle. Now this has been a question: should the Seahawks draft a quarterback? Now I'm going to say no. That's not no. I'm just going to say no. Like what Geno did, you can ride off that for a couple years. I mean, and plus you got draft capital from the Wilson trade. You can build this roster. Now, the Seahawks defense, was very, very underperforming. And now this is where at first, this is where it gets risky for me because I was thinking Tyree Wilson, but I can't go over. I feel like the Seahawks would make the risk decision on going with Jalen Carter, the D-line from Georgia. Now, of course, what he showed all the way for the championship. Great. But after with the incident and now, of course, showing up to the pro day, a little heavyweight, then he showed up as George Foreman. That man he wasn't burning no fat off the grill. He showed up big as George Foreman. He couldn't even finish his position drills. I'm a little disappointed in that, but I'm in today's world, we're gonna have to say, man, he was going through something. So I think he gets back on the horse, and I think Seattle drafts Jalen Carter at 5.
I'm actually in agreement with you there. We don't need to spend any more time on it. I have Jalen Carter at 5 to the Seahawks. So on to 6, we have the Detroit Lions, James. I'll take this one to start. I'll go first. I think that's a team, they see themselves in the NFC North. The way they ended the year, I think they are feeling like they can contend in 2023. Yes. So I think they're going to be going best player available. And they have a lot of needs on defense. I think their top need would be cornerback. Mm-hmm. It's going to be interesting who is the first cornerback off the board. There's a lot of different. The betting odds don't even know which one. Between you got Christian Gonzalez, you got Keely Ringo, but who I think is the number 1 cornerback in this class is Devin Witherspoon from Illinois. I think that's going to be the pick for the Lions at 6 is Devin Witherspoon.
Guess what? That's who I have. I have Devin Witherspoon. Holy cannoli. I watched, actually, kid you not, Illinois was like one of my favorite teams betting on this year because of that defense. And, of course, head coaching is great. I'm not going to talk about the bowl game. That pissed me off. That betting on the bowl game against Mississippi State, they had it covered. It was all good and dandy. I don't want to talk about that part. But I'm with you. Witherspoon, holy cannoli. even from what you read, you know, he was targeted 63 times and 20 only allowed 22 catches. Sounds like, you know, I'm not saying he's Darrelle Revis, but this sounds like no one's going to throw his side. And I think, like you said, with the line, getting Aiden Hutchinson last year was a, you know, boom. You know, and then of course, you know, now bringing in C.J. Gardner-Johnson on the safety side, and then you bring Devin Witherspoon. I like that defense.
They just traded Jeff Okudah away, who was a certified bust for them. So they have a big hole at corner.
They made a mistake not showing him on Hard Knocks. I was like, come on, I want to see the deal, but never mind. All right,
yeah,
so I'm with Witherspoon. So Witherspoon has 6 of the Lions. Now we got 7. We got the Raiders. Now there's been reports that the Raiders are open to drafting a quarterback to compete with Jimmy G. Now I'm a Jimmy G fan. I don't agree with this, but then again, I guess, you know, I mean, I look at the Raiders. They're not as rock bottom as the Broncos were last year, even though I think the Broncos will get better under Sean Payton. But, you know, I find these teams, like if you sign a reasonable veteran quarterback, it's just build the roster up, just suck up these 2-3 years and then figure out your quarterback in the future. You know, hey, you could struggle this year, but hey, draft a high quality player and then get Caleb Williams next year. It could be a possibility. But so for the Raiders, I'm actually also, the defense was a struggle, even though I was surprised they didn't get as much sacks with Chandler Jones and Max Crosby. I'm gonna go with the cornerback from actually Oregon. I'm gonna go with Christian Gonzalez. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't watch much of Gonzalez, but you know, because of course, like at Oregon, you know, it seems like they always play offense. Even Pac-12 always play offense. No one plays defense. But everything about him, from the size to the length to the hips, to the ball skills he had on some videos that I've seen. I mean, you know, he didn't have that many like pass breakups or picks. I'm not talking about this past 2 seasons ago, but this year he had 4 picks and 6. So he's up there. I think Gonzalez goes to the Raiders at 7.
Yeah, at 7, you mentioned it earlier that they might be open to a quarterback. I think they do it. I think they pull the trigger. They're the perfect situation for a guy like Anthony Richardson to go and succeed in. You know, whatever your thoughts on Josh McDaniels as a coach, you can set those aside. You know, I have my reservations on him as well. I think he could be the type of coach that would ruin an Anthony Richardson type. But I think it makes sense. Jimmy Garoppolo is the perfect guy to have as your starter for 1, maybe 2 years. Let Anthony Richardson learn underneath him. Now, I kind of like, I'm a fan of Jimmy G as well, for him to have another guy get drafted underneath him that he has to keep an eye over his shoulder for. That's not the ideal situation for him, but I like Anthony Richardson for Vegas. So I'm locking in that pick.
I like that. You know, hey, I'm not gonna lie. You know how some of the social medias, they'll post like the players under their jerseys, like what they look like, and that would look kind of clean, man. Richardson, black and silver. I'm not drilling over that. But hey, I like that pick actually. And then we got 8. We got Atlanta. Now Atlanta, you know, they did a lot of offseason with the defense, you know, bringing in Jesse Bates. But then I just saw they just released Casey Hayward after 1 season. So that could be a good landing spot for maybe in your mock draft for Christian Gonzalez, if that is. But I'm actually going to go Tyree Wilson on this one right here.
That's a great value there for them if they can get him there.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. I'll go that quickly. So then it's off to you.
All right. This is where a quarterback run starts. I look at the Falcons. I just can't fathom that they're comfortable with Desmond Ridder and Taylor Heineke. I cannot fathom that that's what they're really going to pull up with for week 1. And maybe I'm wrong. This is where Will Levis goes for me. I'm going Will Levis to the Falcons at 8. I think you got to have some kind of quarterback that's not one of those 2 guys. I just don't see how you can do it. Another option for me, I kind of thought about Christian Gonzalez. I even kind of thought about who my offensive tackle 1 is Skoronski from Northwestern.
Ooh, yes.
I thought about having him there, but I like the idea of a quarterback in Atlanta. I think they need one.
Yeah, okay, I like that. Then we got number 9, we got Chicago. Now, of course, Chicago were the former number 1 pick. Everyone thought they'd draft Jalen Carter. They traded back to 9. So now it looks like probably if I'm looking at 9, if they somehow get lucky and get Jalen Carter, that'd be amazing. But I don't think Jalen Carter will be available at 9. Now this is where I fear the most with Philly because I'm an Eagles fan at 10, and I want Peter. I want Peter How you say his last name?
Skoronski.
He ain't scrawny, but that man. So I'm worried the Bears are going to draft Peter Skoronski at 9, and then that's going to hurt me because then I feel like for Philly, even though I'm already going ahead, I feel like they'll probably trade back because I think that's their guy at 10. But I think Chicago goes with Peter Skoronski.
I have Skoronski at 9 as well. I have Peter Skoronski. My main reason with him, I think there's a lot of that's another position it'll be interesting to see who the first guy off the board is. Like cornerback and offensive tackle, I think it's going to be very much a debate of which teams, coaching staffs, which flavor do you value, honestly. I think they're both different types of players, but I lean Skoronski just a little bit because I think he translates into a more versatile offensive lineman. I think you can play him inside a little bit as well as outside, whereas Paris Johnson, the guy who's debated with him a lot, I think he's going to be a strict tackle, which obviously a very important need, but like a team like the Bears that's really trying to rebuild their offensive line, I think you just got to get guys on the offensive line that can play any position and just figure out what fits best for them. So I will go Peter Skoronski at 9.
Yeah. And your future's Justin Fields. You got to block Justin Fields at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I will say this about Peter. Interesting stat. That's why I thought Philly could get this guy. Hopefully, only allowed 6 pressures out of 474 pass blocking snaps in 3 seasons at Northwestern. So, of course, Northwestern wasn't good in football. But he was good. So then we come to my beloved Philadelphia Eagles at number 10. No, we were not the 10th worst team in the NFL. We were in the Super Bowl. My GM, Howie Roseman, had the trade with New Orleans last season to get this pick. So now we're at 10. Now, like I said, I really want the offensive lineman because I feel like with Eagles, both times have been in the Super Bowl, the main areas they've looked at and been successful in is offensive line, defensive line. So for me, I can't say Peter Skoronski again, man, because damn, he's gone now. But of course, that's who I would want at 10. But if he's gone off the board, now this is where I think it gets a little interesting. But I think if he's off the board, now crazy pick I'll say is Bijan Robinson. Supposedly he's only met with visits with the Eagles, and I think it was the Buccaneers this past week or so. He had a draft visit with them. The crazy pick would be Bijan Robinson, but if I'm being a reasonable fan, it's going to come down to either the edge rusher from Iowa, Lucas Van Ness, or the defensive interior lineman. I'm hoping I say his name right. Calijah Kancey from Pittsburgh. So because of course I think that's going to be the pick, the interior lineman, because of course you have Reddick on the outside who dominated last season, but of course we lost Hargrave to the Niners. We got Graham, who's up there in age. We got Cox, who's up there in age. Before the offseason started, I was going to say cornerback, but since they signed, Bradbury and Slay back, of course, we might need to find something for a safety, even though I think we do have a fill-in for that. And I know we lost a lot of linebacker. I think it'll be the interior defensive lineman. I'm going to go Calijah Kancey from Pittsburgh.
Man, well, I guess you're going to think I'm crazy because I have the Eagles taking Bijan Robinson at 10.
So the only reason why I'm not against it, because I used to think the Chiefs were stupid. Every year, you would think they draft defense to help, and then they keep drafting like offense, and I'm like, what more do they need? And then of course, where are they at every other year? AFC Championship, Super Bowl. So I'm like, I'm not surprised if I guess why I wouldn't draft Bijan is if the rumors come true before Thursday night, somehow Derrick Henry lands as a Philadelphia.
That was an interesting rumor that came about on Saturday. Yeah, I was very interesting. To me, that wouldn't make sense to me though, because I think with someone like Jalen Hurts running the ball now, I mean, oh my God, RPOs with Jalen Hurts and Derrick Henry and AJ Brown.
I do think like Henry maybe not. I think he doesn't fit with.
I feel like a pass catching running back would fit that offense better.
Yeah, I think that would work better. But like I said, if they get Henry, I'm not gonna be mad. Hopefully it doesn't turn out like a D'Amico. Not D'Amico. What the hell was that? Not D'Amico. What was that one running back we got from Dallas? I don't even want to think of it.
DeMarco
Murray. Thank you. Oh man, that was.
Yeah.
All right,
so I've got Bijan going 10. I think despite the Eagles losing a lot on defense and free agency, which by the way, we haven't talked since I mentioned on free agency winners and losers on the roundtable for Athletically Declined. We haven't got a chance to talk about this. Look, man, I two things can be true at once. Okay?
Two things can be true.
So here's what two things I believe are true. One is that the Eagles were losers in free agency. They lost a lot of important players and didn't really do anything to replace them well.
Yeah, losing Hargrave, CJ, and then the linebackers. I agree. I can agree to that. But it could have got worse.
Absolutely. But here's the other thing too. I will say I think Howie Roseman is the best executive in the NFL. Okay. And I think he drafts well. And I think he's going to look at this as I have a team that just went to the Super Bowl. I have a good coaching staff in place. I'm taking the best player available at whatever position is on my board. I'm taking him. And I think at this point, Bijan's got to be the top of his board. I think he pulls the trigger, especially knowing that he needs some defensive help. But they have that other pick at 30, right? 30?
Yes, 30.
They have that other pick at 30 ready to go. You can get the best player available on defense there. You'll have guys in that range. Like, honestly, you mentioned Lucas Van Ness. I'm very low on Lucas Van Ness. That guy wasn't even a starter for Iowa last year. So he's got good pass rushing skills, but very, very raw. But that being said, that's the type of guy I think will be available for the Eagles at the end. A guy like that, oh my God, you have him on the edge. With that Eagles front seven, man, I think that replenishes some stuff, and I think that could be nasty.
It will be. It will be. I like I said, I wouldn't be shocked if they got Bijan. But like I said, if I'm thinking about how the Eagles run their organization, it's through that offense and defense alignment. So hopefully we'll see what happens Thursday. Spencer, bonus, who you got at 12 on your mock draft for the Texans? Because the Texans and the Eagles both had 2 picks. Holy cannoli. What a coincidence. Yeah. So who would you draft at 12 then on your mock?
So so you posing that question to me, are you asking me who I would take or who I think they'll take right now?
Hey, all I'm gonna say is, hey, I'll make it easier for you. So for my mock draft, I got CJ going 2 to the Texans, in my opinion. Why not? Just like the Bengals did, Jamar Chase and Burrow, you're going to have to get that Jackson Enigma Smith, and that's who I think the Texans should get at 12. But that's what I would think.
That's what I want. I would love for the stack of Stroud and JSN at the 2 and 12 picks. Yeah. I would give Caserio an A++ draft if he ended up with the best quarterback on the board and the best wide receiver on the board. If he comes out of the draft with that, I could care less what he does the rest of the draft. It's a win. But what I actually think will happen, I think if you're going Will Anderson at 2, I think you're probably going to be looking at, at this point, I see Paris Johnson available. They might be tempted to take some offensive line help, despite trading for Shaq Mason. Man, you know what? Honestly, I think regardless whether I like it or not, I think Jackson Smith and Jigba just makes too much sense for them at 12. Even here, I'm looking at the board. I think the Titans, what they'll do at 11 is interesting. I don't know. Yes. I don't think they'll be I don't necessarily think they could be. They could be a threat for a wide receiver, absolutely. In fact, maybe if they think the Texans are going to take Jackson Smith and Jigba, they might pull the trigger there. Yeah. But if it's not someone like that, I could see them going for, look at him on board. It's really, I think Kalijah Clancy, if he's there, that makes some sense there. Yeah. Why not? Maybe they could go tight end, Dalton Kincaid or Michael Mayer. I like those there. Mm-hmm. But for me, I want Jackson Smith and Jigba in a Texans uniform. I think that's my pick. Yeah.
I couldn't disagree more.
Even though he's not, I will preface that he's actually not my wide receiver 1.
He isn't. Yeah.
Jordan Addison is my wide receiver 1 of this class. I think he's the most versatile prospect that you can play him inside, outside. But JSN was so good in the slot, and I think what the Texans have already, you got Mechie, you have Nico Collins, you signed Robert Woods. I think you can put JSN in that lineup in the slot and feel pretty comfortable about your offensive weapons there. So Jackson Smith-Njigba was who I want at 12, but at 30, who you got for the Eagles?
30. So now in my mock, of course, if I got defensive interior at 10, I'm praying that at 30 that the offensive tackle from Georgia, Broderick Jones, as an offensive tackle. Now, the only reason of course, I know he's not going to get switched to center. I know that. But this is a good spot. Lane Johnson, is aging. We lost the other I forget his name, man. He went to Pittsburgh. But I like offensive tackle as well because, like I said, we just signed Jalen Hurts, $255 million contract. Now the contract, how it's paid, is very friendly. So I'm hoping we protect our assets. I'm gonna go Broderick Jones from Georgia, offensive tackle, at 30.
Yeah, beef up that offensive line because that offensive line was what was the Eagles' bread and butter last year. It's what got them to the Super Bowl.
Definitely. Now, hey, look. Hey, man, we're done. We're done. We did our top 10. We did our mock. We did our extra picks for our Eagles and Texans. We did NBA. We did wild quick take. And look, man, it's the longest episode, but I knew that was going to happen because it's been so long since we've seen each other. Now, I'm going to say this. I don't know how our schedules are going to work out. I know Monday, Spencer's going to be a tad busy with the roundtable at Athletically Declined. That might be a 4-hour episode.
I'm buckling in for that one. I already, and those guys like to start late too, so
they like to start late. So I know Monday Spencer's not available. Maybe Tuesday, but then again, Spencer may be wore out from a 4-hour episode, so we may not see each other till after day 1 of the draft. So maybe a Friday, depending on how our schedules go. Before, besides, you're looking for the draft. What are you looking for this week into sports? You looking for supposedly an NBA team to maybe make a surprise, maybe like the Heat, if Giannis out, somehow win another game, be up to.
It's crazy. I think if Giannis comes back, the Bucks win. I think if he sits out, I think the Heat win. I think that series is pretty much chalk at this point for me. I think that's what's going to sway it. But I'm going to play something. I always love to talk about soccer. There's a massive, massive Premier League match on Wednesday afternoon. Arsenal, top of the table. They have a very, very small league, and they are choking. They are choking their lead away against my club, my favorite club, Manchester City. Huge match, City and Arsenal on Wednesday afternoon at 2:00. James, I highly encourage you, check it out. That is top-tier soccer that will be played, and it's a big one. Basically, whoever wins that match is probably going to win the title.
2:00 your time, so 12:00 my time. Okay, I think I can make that work.
Yeah.
I think the baby still be asleep.
I'm gonna get you that. I'm gonna get you a link to a stream. I want you to watch. I actually will be at work. I'm probably not gonna be able to watch it unless I can finesse some, I think, extended break time or extended lunch time or something. I'm gonna have to finesse a little bit with the boss, but I'm gonna make sure you watch that game because that's Premier League soccer at its highest level. That is how you get into soccer. So I'm gonna put that on.
I gotta start because even my cousin's boyfriend, in Atlanta. He has MLS is different, but Atlanta United supposedly is big down there. So I might be going. I have seen a few Houston Dynamo games. Don't get me wrong, but I might have to go. I might have to go see a game or two now. So I will. You know what? I'll be interested. Spencer, just text me and I'll put it on either. Hopefully, it's on my YouTube TV channel. So we'll see.
I got you. I'll have to figure out what channel it's going to come on, but we'll figure that off the line. But yeah. That honestly, besides the draft, obviously the draft is first and foremost this week. That's where my priorities are. I will say, I will plug right now my new account, Mr. Fantasy F Ball. I will be posting this weekend immediately following the draft. I will be giving my winners and losers of the draft. Whoever is affected, in a pure fantasy perspective. Who are the players that won the weekend? who are the players that lost? Like, what quarterback's got a brand new running back or wide receiver? So I'm going to be taking note of that. But, yeah, besides the draft this week, Manchester City and Arsenal, that's going to be a big one for me. So that's the week ahead.
I think mine will be, of course, the obvious one. Warriors and Kings, Game 5. The Kings had a chance to steal the Game 4, and now it is 2-2. I'm not saying the Warriors have the motivation. I know ESPN is going to say that up and down, but the Warriors still got to win on the road. And if the Kings don't win Game 5, I think it's over in 6, as you predicted. But if the Kings win, hey, Kings in 7, still looking good. So that's what I'll be looking for. Hey, Spencer, hey, let me go because guess what? I am late. I got to cook. I got to put the baby down. I got to feed my wife. I still got to do laundry. I am behind, man.
You are a family man, James, and we respect you and we love you for it, man.
Hey,
this was great, man. I missed you, man. I can't wait to do it again.
Yeah, we'll be back. We'll be back a little sooner than almost 2 weeks off. So, hey, guys, as always, follow us, subscribe to us. Athletically Declined, Mr. Fantasy Football, Red Shirt Year, Wild Wild West Sports. Man, there's so many. Man, there's so many.
We're growing, bro. We're growing. This content, these takes are coming at you like spitting hot fire, man. I'm loving this stuff, man. I've got the fever nowadays, man.
Hey, and then guess what? Hey, special guest, May 6th.
I'm so excited for this, man. I'm so excited.
Hey, I won't say anymore because I gotta go, Smith. Hey, man. Good seeing you. Good talking with you. I'll see you next time.
All right, till next time, my man.